Our guest is Steve Wozniak this morning. Matt Richtel and Sarah Lacey join us. We were talking during the break about the health of Steve Jobs. New York Times, Yahoo Business, and Business Week certainly want to know the same. That's something that we've all been talking about.
Yeah, I guess where, I cover stories for investors. And, I think we all want to respect his privacy, and I don't get into, talking about people's marriages or their personal lives at all, but he is such a part of the value of that stock. And so looking at it as a business story, it's really hard for us not to cover it. I mean, I know you feel we should get out of his business, but do you at least grant the position business reporters have been in there and market reporters?
I think that Steve has indicated that he's respectful to, obviously, the information that his family needs, gets it, the information that investors get, they'll get, and the information the public gets, will get, and we can just trust him. What he says is what we ought to accept, and not, oh, well, I always want to, no matter how much he gave in explanations and explanations and explanations, there would be a lot of people that keep wanting more and more, and
Steve, I think
what am I not getting?
I think the operative question, and you are as well positioned as anyone to answer it, is how instrumental is he per se to the success of the business? That is the question that's driving the investor curiosity.
Yeah, well, in the shower this morning I was thinking, well, you know what? He sort of says he's going to take a leave of absence. And to me, if that's what he says, I'll take it at face value. He wants a rest, the rest and peacefulness. What do you do when you rest? Sometimes your mind floats. And a person like his is probably going to work out, better concepts and products and ways that the future could be, the way we live our lives, more than almost any individual could. It's probably a great, great thing for Apple. So
sure.
He goes away, rests, and comes back. He'll probably have some great influence. Now, the products that are coming out of Apple, technology companies have a long pipeline. And they're started, and sometimes they work their way through for a year or a year and a half, even 2 years, and those products are in the pipeline. They're not going to be disturbed,
But pointedly, well, first of all, Sarah said she doesn't get into marriage, private things. Thank you for sharing your shower with us. That was,
but
I asked about the four marriages, and
we're all wondering about
it. I used to dream my best thoughts, and now it usually comes to me in the morning in the shower.
But pointedly, I think the question is for whatever reason, Steve Jobs were not at Apple, would the company be as capable, as able to produce the kinds of products that it's producing?
Way too hypothetical. I would never venture a guess. I'd say yes, and I'd say no. I mean, obviously Steve's very important, but Apple has some incredible people too that are almost, in a way, followers of the Apple mentality, followers of Steve himself.
Well, looking back then, if you can't sort of look forward and be hypothetical, was Steve the guy who did the iPhone, the guy who did, the iPod? Would those products have happened without him? Would they have been dramatically different without him?
You could go back 10, 15 years and listen to things Steve said about where does excellence in products come from. And you could look at the time frame since then, and largely, one careful mind that sees, has the clear vision, has to be in control, and not large conglomerations of people. And, but I read just like you. Almost every product, a lot of the key aspects of it are attributed to Steve. I watch him once in a while around the campus. He's up on, people doing early stages of the work and making sure that they refine things and get it as excellent as possible. So he's a great individual, but there's an awful lot that are around him at Apple that obviously, learn some of the good techniques. So the culture of a company can be ongoing, even while he's away.
Speaking of the culture of the company, one thing as journalists that we have marveled at and sometimes been frustrated by is the incredible capacity of Apple to hold its product announcements private, to reveal when it wants to. Tell us a little bit about the culture and how they've been able to do that.
And
do you get to, do you see the iPhone early? Yeah.
Yes.
And what else
Apple,
would you like to reveal about it?
Before the iPhone, before the iPod, before the iPhone, going back in time, we were basically a computer company, and we had, and I'm trying to remember your question right now.
Do you get to see the products? How often, or how far ahead do you get to see them? Help me paraphrase.
And about the culture of secrecy.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, the culture of secrecy. I wanted to deal with that issue. We had just the computers, and we had all these fans of why our computer was so good and why we loved it so much, and we wanted every rumor. We wanted to hear what was coming out, and we wanted to spread it as quickly as we could, and it was harmful to Apple. On the bottom line, introducing a product when it's kind of ready to sell, ready to ship, or almost there, and having a big, surprise, here's the big step we're taking, was a lot to Apple's benefit. And that's one aspect, that privacy, that I'm very glad of. And people in Apple will talk about an awful lot of things going on in there, but they won't talk about products.